What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rise and Grind. How you doing today, Meg?
I'm doing great. It's a great Monday. It's a holiday week, so that's something to look forward to.
I was showing Meg how to use a feature here, and I didn't use it right. So that's phenomenal.
I'll show you next time.
Yeah, you show me next time because clearly I don't know what I'm doing. Guys, so we have some huge breaking news. So we're going to start with this one. This is our biggest topic of the dang day. Okay, and what is that topic? It is Sam Altman, OpenAI is out. And the one thing that is insane about this is that this is the first time since Steve Jobs, got ousted as the CEO of his own company that this has happened again. Now, you'll notice because over the years, companies like Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, he took note to what happened to Steve Jobs. And he said, I will never let that happen. So he was the person who built boards that did not have an overarching saying, essentially. Like the board was there to advise. They were not there to make key decisions without the founder or CEO. Now, in this case, where OpenAI had their like little clause is the fact that OpenAI actually started as a nonprofit a long time ago. So they had a board of trustees, and then they had a board essentially of ethics. And because they felt that he did not like meet the criteria for ethical, essentially reporting, and like the things he was saying was not consistent, so they didn't feel they could trust him. So they fired the CEO and one of the main founders of OpenAI, which is insane. So as this is obviously, coming to a head and this is being reported everywhere, I'm sitting here watching this going, wow, OpenAI and just, obviously ChatGPT is changing the landscape right now so rapidly, right? They have a $90 billion valuation currently, right? Because of Sam Altman and all the other different founders. But so when they fire Sam Altman, and he was totally blindsided, by the way, did not see it coming.
I'm going to his partner out of the meeting too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so long story short, Greg winds up leaving as well and says, hey, you know what? I don't like how this went down. I'm out of here as well. Switches the two. He was the president. Sam was the CEO. And this morning, come to find out that Microsoft scooped him up. Mm-hmm. So now Microsoft is now the proud home of Sam Altman and Greg. And now they're going to completely insanely advance their AI. But one thing that's super important to note, that Microsoft is the biggest investor in OpenAI.
Right.
So it's some people are like, is this, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that weird? Is that a conflict? But ultimately, it does not matter. The CEO of Microsoft, who they're calling a complete genius right now, essentially went in. And before the market opened today, so he had the weekend to get this deal done and to get them, Sam and Greg, on their team to lead the AI initiatives. And essentially, he got it done before the market opened. So now the news gets broken out because Microsoft dropped 2% over the weekend, or right before the weekend started, once this all got out. And now, before the market opens, guess what?
Wish I would have been.
Yeah, right? We should have freaking knew about this guy. So, but nonetheless, again, this is insane news, primarily because this has not happened to this magnitude since Steve Jobs at Apple, to such a big company. So again, for business owners that are out there scaling major companies or scaling a company that's going to be major one day, there is something to take down and learn from this. Most companies learned that when they were going through, what Steve Jobs went through. So they didn't put themselves back in that position. But here we are now. So now the interesting part is that Microsoft essentially, they just bought OpenAI without buying OpenAI.
Right.
So, and again, keep in mind, OpenAI is valued at $90 billion with a B.
I wonder what this opportunities look like for them too. Because it opens up a world of opportunity for Microsoft, right? They essentially can compete with OpenAI through and through now.
100%. So at the end of the day, this is the cool part, is that they bought a $90 billion company, because Sam Altman and Greg, they're not the only people. Obviously, there are brilliant people that work at OpenAI, obviously. But they are the leaders of that company. So when you buy the leaders, you buy the company, because they know what to do. They know what they did. They know who they hired. They know how to get it done. So Microsoft just did that. So insane. That's what's happening right now. So
what a Thanksgiving week. They'll be sitting around. We're really thankful for small bread.
Well, and actually one thing I didn't mention is that when they let Sam go and then Greg quit, and then I'm sure that they heard rumbles of this whole Microsoft acquisition of these two guys. They try to hire him back.
I saw that.
And it was rejected. So I don't know if Sam just straight up said flat out like, no, screw you guys, you screwed me over, or what. But
would you go back into business with people that just basically
outed you?
Yeah, had a cute.
Probably not.
No.
Highly likely not.
Right?
Unless the only way that would make sense, which clearly didn't happen, was he probably said, I got to come back, but no board with this power. And they probably said, nope, see you later. But I'm going to say this now, and hopefully we can revert back to this in like a couple months. I think that Elon Musk was a major driver behind Sam Altman being fired.
It's possible. Well, last week we were talking about how Elon is trying to introduce Grok, which is another AI. It's a competitor of OpenAI.
Right. But Elon, do you know Elon was a co-founder of OpenAI?
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, so he's
interesting because he's a co-founder and he's introducing another platform that's competing with it, and he's kind of at the top for this whole coup too. So
it makes sense. Elon being Elon, right? He wants to do it his way. So here he goes. But at the end of the day, a co-founder, Elon, was on record before saying that we need to slow down AI advancements. That it's happening too quickly. Yeah. And then next thing you know, months later, because he said months ago, Sam Altman gets fired. So I don't know. I think there's a direct correlation there. Elon is rogue.
Maybe.
And what's interesting is that typically he's the guy that like wants to run 1,000 gazillion miles per hour.
Right. Do things people haven't seen before. Yeah. Now he's like, all right, everyone slow down. Which if he's saying that, you know it means something.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, to jump into some more fun topics, there are a few brands that are adapting their products for Thanksgiving, and we do see this throughout the year where different brands, to pick up sales during a certain time of year, they'll change their core product to basically co-align with the holiday. So we're going to play Would You Eat It or Leave It on the Shelf?
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
DiGiorno's turkey pizza. It's a pizza with turkey gravy, sweet potatoes, green beans, cranberries, and
leave that on a dang shelf. I ain't looking at that thing. I ain't going nowhere near that.
Yeah, so these products are also only available during the Thanksgiving week, which is really interesting. So it's their effort to try to kick things up. I don't think I would eat the DiGiorno's turkey pizza either, but it's a good effort. McCormick's Thanksgiving donuts. Now remember, McCormick's is the seasonings and spices, right? So they're having Thanksgiving donuts with gravy-infused dough with maple cheesecake filling, pumpkin with nutmeg and cinnamon cream, and cranberry rosemary jam filled with donuts.
So for me personally, I want chocolate. I want
You're traditional.
I'm a traditional donut guy, but I would say I would get it because I know Jacqueline would like those.
Yeah. I would do.
Yeah. Jack would like those, so I would.
Okay, this one's a little questionable. So this is a seltzer sparkling water brand, Bora Bora.
Okay.
Who, instead of coming out with something that sounds a little bit more appetizing, they're coming out with drinkable green beans as sparkling water.
We're throwing that in a fire. Right? I'm not putting it back on the shelf. I'm throwing it out.
I think that adapting your product to
drinkable
the
green
holiday
beans
could be really beneficial if you do it the right way. Drinkable green beans, I don't think so. But if they came out with a seltzer that was like cranberry maple infused, that sounds really nice. So I don't know if they're going to see a kick in their sales. And then the last one I will go through is Lay's potato chips came out with a mashed potatoes kit. So you can now pick up a mashed potatoes kit.
So the Lay's mashed potatoes?
This is Lay's. Yeah, it's a Lay's potato chip, mashed potatoes. And they're collaborating with Matt James of The Bachelor right now. So,
I love mashed potatoes, so I'm all in for that.
So those are some fun different collaborations that brands are doing with themselves or just with other products to hype up their sales.
Well, two things on that. One, you have to think about that. So most of us are going to sit there and look at that and be like, why would you ever make a product like that? Like, I don't think that DiGiorno pizza with that stuff on it sounds horrendously gross. But it's making them relevant, and there will be people who buy it purely to be like curious, like, maybe this is interesting. I don't know. Let me buy this, but Lay's mashed potatoes, if I saw that, I would buy it. Jacqueline would be pissed. It'd be okay. We'd get over it. But it's like people buy these things just because, I'm grabbing things in the store, whatever.
And it's out of curiosity, right? It's like
100.
green beans?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So with that said, think about how you can make your brand relevant, right? Thanksgiving, I mean, it's late in the game, obviously. We've been pushing, you got to be on the holiday kick, at least, 2-3 months ahead of time, preparing the assets, getting yourself out there. But, I mean, how can you put your business into some of these holidays? And the funny thing is a lot of businesses think, well, it's not applicable to me. But you can find ways to get creative.
Right.
DiGiorno's putting a freaking Thanksgiving feast on a pizza, right? Like Lay's is making mashed potatoes. Yeah. There's ways to do it. You just got to find it. Be creative.
Exactly. Be creative is key. All right. Next up, we have how Urban Outfitters is targeting Gen Z for the holidays. So Gen Z.
Wait, do you shop at Urban Outfitters?
I love Urban Outfitters.
Do you?
Do you?
I don't go there. I just like the only one is there one in Red Bank? Yeah, there was in the corner by our old office.
Oh, I loved our Red Bank office because I used to be able to walk.
I'm a convenience guy, and there's just never been, besides that, there's never been a close Urban Outfitters to me.
No, there typically isn't.
And so, is there one in Freehold Mall?
No.
Yeah, see, like they're nowhere. I guess that's why I'm not a customer.
There is now. But yeah, I don't think so. But they are a great brand. They have so many different lines within their brand. So obviously they have clothing. But right now, they're really focused on the out-of-home products that they have. And they're getting really creative to market to Gen Z. I'm actually going to cast my screen here because this is really cool. So they're using CGI in their social content and ads to make Gen Z think twice. So this is the video. So they have their metallic puffer blanket, and it is flapping around on the top of their Herald Square location in New York City. Now, obviously, this is not real.
It's so crazy how real CGI looks.
Exactly. Well, that's the point. So they're saying that they are using CGI to create a lot of content that's like this that makes Gen Z go, well, wait a second. It looks real. The texture looks real.
So real.
The movement looks real, but it's not. And it's just promoting that specific product. So go check out their Instagram because it is really cool. They have a few more different examples that are like this. But,
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it makes you think too, creating content on social media. There's all of these different concepts now and different trends that you can be a part of. But using CGI, the goal is to make your audience hesitate for a second.
For sure.
And think, oh, wait a second, what did I just see?
Yeah.
Is that real? Is it not real? Is it true? Is it not true? So that's the goal. And Urban Outfitters is doing a great job with that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Instacart unveiling tools to boost discovery for new brands. I love Instacart. Yeah,
I got to say, so besides the fact that Megan lives 1 minute from a grocery store, and she loves Instacart. I'm just kidding. I got to. Every time we bust jobs, I got to bust Megan's job. If I have an opportunity, I got to take that opportunity. No, I'm kidding. But seriously. But the one thing that when people think about music, right? So what music company do you think about when you think about like a platform that enables artists that are on the up and up for music?
Spotify?
No.
SoundCloud?
Yeah. So good job. So SoundCloud is like essentially this is what they're doing. Like SoundCloud, when you hear up and coming artists, you'll always see SoundCloud referenced, even in MTV shows like The Challenge or this or that. Like you'll see SoundCloud, blah 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 artists. But SoundCloud pretty much focuses on those guys, right? But what's cool is that Instacart now essentially is giving the up and comers an ability to have a platform like that. And listen, the world we live in, people want to support businesses. So when they see up and coming entrepreneurs and things like that, they're super, super eager to jump in and support. So it's interesting that a huge company like Instacart is enabling, new and fresh blood. They're also super smart because the more people that they have on there, the more fees they collect.
Right. Exactly.
So regardless, I love it. I think it's great. Yeah. From a business perspective, great, right? But from, just being like a good, like morally good company trying to like have the next generations come up. Because listen, Instacart has the biggest companies in the world.
Right.
They have people going to Costco, everything. So when you open up a little, Johnny's Deli or Megaroni's Pasta Bistro, like at the end of the day, like they're letting other people get an opportunity.
Right.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's going to help a lot of small businesses. And just in time, this week is Small Business Saturday, which we're
hyped about. And if you're seeing this, I want you to comment in what your favorite ordering services. So obviously there's Instacart, but you can do it on Uber Eats now. You can do a bunch of different things. What services do you use to get food delivered to you? I'm curious.
I'm curious too. All right, well, to keep an eye on the comments, and while everyone is typing in, I'm going to talk about long-form captions and how they're making a comeback, which is really interesting.
Don't call it a comeback, but it's back.
A year ago, even just a few months ago, we saw captions being really short and witty.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really wanted to read too much, and it was very much in line with the short-form content, the visuals that people were taking. Right? Now, as a trend that's going around is using long-form captions with your short-form content.
Yep.
So how this works,
yep.
And it'll help you increase your views and your reach. So the goal is to have a video that is, let's say, 10 seconds, 15 seconds long. And then your caption should provide a lot of detail, but here's what you have to do. Make sure that there's a hook in your video. And then the first line of your caption, you're going to say something like, details below, check this out, and have an emoji or an arrow that's pointing down, signifying that there's more details in the caption. That's where you're going to go into detail. And the longer it takes somebody to read that, your video is replaying in the background over and over and over again. So
the extra plays.
It's really helping you in the algorithm. So it's going to place you in front of more people. It's going to help increase your play count. It's a win-win situation, and you're educating people on whatever the topic is that you are posting about. So try it out. Look at that.
Bam. You and your damn camera.
Try it out.
You're not allowed to use your hands anymore. Megan got the new update on her MacBook, and now every time she uses her hands, there's the emojis popping up. She can't control her hands. Chris, gosh dang it, Chris had to show her this damn feature, and now no matter what, she's got emojis popping up.
That's a good trend too. If you update your iOS system, you will also have some emojis like that.
I'm a big believer though in long form content. I think it's so wild because I feel like we were at a point 2 years ago where people didn't want to read at all. And I feel like people like short videos, and they do like to get a little read in now.
Right.
And so it's crazy how, again, the market is constantly shifting and turning. You gotta be adapting, no pun intended. But all pun intended. All pun intended. But I gotta ask before we pop into the next one. Actually, I'll save this to the end.
Okay. All right. Well, next topic is all yours. Actually, Apple is pulling ads off of X due to anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and just right, content concerns. So, again, Apple and a lot of these brands are starting to do things like this where they're seeing, again, and it's tough because when you have a really big personality CEO or person who runs the company, aka Elon Musk, a lot of people look at him now for his political views and what he does, and now they're making judgments based on it, right? Like we heard when he first acquired it, car companies were like, hey, he owns Tesla. He's going to see our ads and what we're doing,
right,
and he could use it for his advantage. Even though the one thing, though, that I love that he could say, and he probably said, Tesla doesn't run one ad.
That's true.
They don't market. So that's actually brilliant.
But he still learn from the data.
But he could look at their data, right? He could look at their data. He could look at whatever. But nonetheless, now again, he's making these comments, left and right, going on, Tucker Carlson, and going on all these different Republican podcasts. And what it's doing is it's making these companies, most of the biggest companies in the world, are more left swinging, right? So they like the Democratic Party typically, right? So when they're seeing him say things that he's saying and going on these types of podcasts and stuff, it's like, whoa, in corporate world. Most people like that are in corporate swing to the left. So right now, major companies like Apple, which again is like, I think it's the second or the first biggest, most profitable company in the world, is starting to pull back on X because of what Elon is doing, essentially. So it's interesting. And obviously, Elon wants it to be a free speech platform. You go on there, you say pretty much whatever you want to say, as long as it's not terrible. He said that certain things will get pulled down, but clearly things are being, Apple's seeing things not be pulled down that they're not liking. So we're going to start to see, again, this platform, man, is going through the ringer, X. Like, it's insane to see what this company is doing and changing and shifting and restructuring and laying people off in the tons and tons and tons and the thousands.
Right.
Where it's heading. But ultimately, it's content like that. And the one thing I will say, not speaking to this topic in particular, but when we had our conference, at the beginning of the year, Ian, one of our board of advisors, presented essentially on how some companies are woke or they're too woke, right? And the too woke, he gave the example of that one. I forget the big business figure who said to Starbucks essentially, like, don't tell me how to vote or what my political belief should be. Just serve me my bleeping coffee, right? Like, so it's like we have all these brands trying to take stands when it's like, we don't want you to do that for the most part, right? Like, some people like it. Some people, for the overwhelming majority, don't like it. Like,
where I go, if it's not ingrained in your business's
like DNA or ethos,
yeah, don't try to speak about it. Stick to just what you know and what you offer, essentially.
100%. And I think, again, like the suits that I wear, like if I went to Suit Supply in New York and I walked in, or I would go to Chazmataz, and my guy Steven's telling me how I should be, voting or doing this or doing that, like, I would be like, what the like, cause like don't tell me how to do this, or don't tell me how to do that, or don't tell me how to save the planet, right?
Yeah.
It's like, at the end of the day, to your point, if it's not your core mission, then stay out of it, right? And Bud Light was a great example.
Yeah.
Bud Light, and actually, interestingly enough, I was talking about this over the weekend. It was the first time I've seen the right side, right, the more conservative side of our country, cancel a brand.
That's very true.
99,9,100 gazillion percent of cancels come from people who are more liberal or democratic. And Bud Light was the first time that the right side, like, canceled a brand. And that was the most successful beer company ever.
Yeah.
Bud Light, right, from Anheuser-Busch. And they stepped into a fight that wasn't in their core ethos, and that their primary customer did not, like, resonate with.
Right.
So ultimately, what we're saying here, back to, like, again, Apple's leaving X. Why are they leaving X? Because Elon's out there talking, and what he's putting in the world. The one thing I will say, though, that I did respect, I was watching an interview with Elon, and he was talking to, oh my goodness, who was he talking to? He was being interviewed. Maybe it was by Lex Friedman, I think it was. But they said, you're saying all these things and you're losing advertisers. And they're like, don't you think, like, you should kind of dial down, Elon? Like, not be so out there. So, like, like saying things that are going to hurt X or hurt Tesla. And he said, if me speaking my truth and what I believe is going to lose me money, then so be it.
Wow. I knew he was going to say something like that.
Totally. Yeah. But you can listen, would he say that if he was grinding in his basement at that time? Probably not, right? Yeah. When he was early phase companies, right? This dude's like one of the richest dudes on the planet. Yeah. Of course he's going to say, he's going to be a big little, you know what? But ultimately, though, there's something for us all to learn, which is, at the end of the day, and I heard this too, gosh dang it, who did I hear this from? I think it was the former CEO or the founder of Airbnb, but he said something along the lines of that, like, his trajectory in his life changed when he started speaking his true beliefs and living his belief, right, and what he believes is true, and finding people around him. Because when he said it, he's like, when I speak it, people who believe it and believe it in their own way surround themselves with me, and I surround myself with them. And, like, it just, my life just changed for the better ever since I started, like, doing that. And so, at the end of the day, non-business related, obviously, from a personal perspective, I think that's so important. When you think about people, like especially when everybody's younger and they're in high school or middle school or college, those are such like impressionable, tough years with like social, circles and impacts and stuff. And what do we do? Typically, you see people be in relationships that they're not happy with, right? And or they're trying to like fight for somebody's approval. That doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things.
Right.
And if people just from day one, like only did the things that they truly believe and care about the things that they really believe in and care about and just live their complete truth, where would they end up? Who would they end up with? It would be insane to see those types of things. So that's why when I hear things like that from Elon or from, the founder of Airbnb, I can't remember his name right now, I think it's Sam. But regardless, it's like that right there, I think is a lesson for us. Obviously, these two guys are gazillionaires, right? But it's like great lessons for us average Jane and Joes down here on planet Earth to be like, you know what? Damn, okay. Like, I like that mentality. And, what's the worst that can happen? Because we all know somebody who's like super transparent and blunt in our lives.
I love those people in my life.
Right. Yeah. But like growing up before you have like, again, you've been a leader for a couple of years now. Yeah. So it's easier to love those people now. Yeah, before it's rough, right? It's like you a-hole. Yeah, like, why are you so mean or why are you so whatever? But who could have known? We're like, wow, these people are giving us real feedback. And it's, even if you're really good at it, I feel like it's still not easy to deliver, right? I'm sure it gets easier, for some people. But like when somebody's just abundantly transparent and radically transparent with you from the rip, before leadership training and feedback training, it's hard. And you look at them like, well, F you. Like, why are you telling me my hair looks like shit today? Where it's like, that person is just trying to help you, and how they deliver that feedback don't really matter. But this also goes back to Apple is pulling back on X because of all that. So something to keep in mind.
All right, that wraps us up for this week.
Speaking of wrapping us up, Megaronis, I'm happy to say, okay, my house is decorated for Christmas already. Speaking of wrapping, yeah, I'm somebody. If it was up to me, right, I would have done it maybe like a week earlier. What's today? Like the 8th to 20th. I would have done it maybe a week earlier. But you know what? I could smell December. I see December and I don't need binoculars. So I'm like December is right there. Okay, I smell the real Christmas trees, even though I don't got them. Right. It's like, I know it's in the distance. The candy canes. I actually haven't had a candy cane since I was a kid.
What?
I just don't like them anymore, I don't think.
You put them in your hot chocolate and then it becomes a peppermint.
I know. See, I don't do that, but I got to do that.
Oh my God.
But,
I'm missing out.
And I'm curious, though, if you're watching this at this point, I want you to put in when you start decorating for the holidays, for, Hanukkah, Christmas, all the beautiful, things that are out there holiday-wise. Type in for us in the comments when you decorate. I remember, it's so funny, my neighbor, actually, because I'm in a new neighborhood right now, and so like I'm still like towing the line, but while still authentically, unapologetically, like I'm getting ready early, right? So like my neighbor actually got ready before me, so he started putting up his decorations outside.
Like, no, I'm definitely going to go.
So I was like, oh, I'm not the only weirdo here.
Yeah.
And so many people are like, well, it's too early. You got to have Thanksgiving first. And I'm like, no, I'd rather listen. I'm still having Thanksgiving. Yeah. Thanksgiving ain't going nowhere, fam.
It just has a little bit more magic to it.
You gotta have a little pizzazz. Isn't like the Christmas holiday, Hanukkah, so on season so magical?
It's magical and cozy.
What's your favorite holiday?
Well,
you like Thanksgiving, right?
I like Thanksgiving a lot. Right. I like Thanksgiving because of my childhood memories of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I like Christmas because of how magical it feels.
So magical. Realistically, you just love to consume food.
I just love to eat.
Me too, though. Yeah. Honestly, Thanksgiving is great for that. And it's funny, when you're growing up and you're going out for Thanksgiving Eve and stuff like that. Like I remember when I was like not married or not, like I was living home still. Like I would always be super hungover, like the day of Thanksgiving, because I'd be out on Thanksgiving Eve.
I've never gone out on Thanksgiving Eve.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. All right, we're going out. We're going out. This is my probably last one I could go. All right, I'm taking Meg out. We're all going out. Adapting Social Crew. We're going out for Thanksgiving Eve. But nonetheless, guys, a lot to unpack here. So if you're just tuning in, again, I think our biggest headline, which we could re-pop up one more time, is Sam Altman is out. He got let go, fired. See you later. Hasta luego. Is that a thing?
Hasta luego.
I think it's a thing. Imagine just cursed in Spanish. I'm sorry if I curse in Spanish. But nonetheless, he got out and Microsoft scooped him up. And Microsoft is one of the biggest investors in OpenAI. So a lot of controversy there, a lot of drama. A lot of the OpenAI team is like, whoa. Even the board is like, oh, what do we do here? Huge news. And obviously ChatGPT has been a massive freaking thing in all of our lives recently. Right. $90 billion valuation. And Microsoft just scooped up Sam Altman and Greg. He bought a $90 billion. They bought a $90 billion company without having to acquire a $90 billion company. Insane, completely bananas. But guys, thank you so much for your time and attention. We really appreciate it. If you know an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a business owner, or someone trying to get these trends in the marketing space and branding space, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can watch this on Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and we'll see you next Monday, guys. Thank you for tuning in.